He said to himself,
Let me get some money from my father's strong box. I will be back tonight with the profits and I will pay him back.
He called on his friends to help him. Together they flagged down a lorry and loaded it with fresh maize. Samuel climbed in the lorry and headed to the city. By the time the father left church that day, Samuel was already far from the village, making friends with the lorry driver. As they drove down the road, Samuel thought to himself,
I wonder how I can find a buyer for the fresh maize.
He was not sure how he would do it, but he knew he could do it better on his own. The lorry driver asked where Samuel planned to sell his produce. He confessed that he did not know. The lorry driver said,
Oh, come on, no problems, little brother. I have a friend who will help us out. He's a buyer who will give us the best deal.
After that, Samuel knew he could relax. He was in business now. In the city, the driver drove straight to the market. They parked the vehicle and stepped into a bar to relax with a cold drink. Samuel said,
My father always said, business before pleasure. But I like to cool off before I try to outsmart a buyer. Let's have a beer.
After one beer, the driver ordered a second for Samuel and said,
Excuse me, I will find the buyer and bring him to you.
Samuel said,
Not so fast. How do I know that you won't drive off with my maize?
The driver said,
Oh, come on, don't worry, little brother. You hold the keys for me.
Saying that, he handed Samuel some keys and took off. The driver returned with a buyer before Samuel was ready for another beer. The driver said,
This is my friend Sammy, who needs a good buyer for his maize.
After they sat down, the driver said,
I assure Sammy that you gave the best and highest prices in town.
The buyer said,
Oh no, why do you always spoil my business? From now on, let me tell them about my own prices.
He turned to Samuel and said,
Well, Sammy, what price are you expecting?
After what he thought was skillful bargaining, Samuel and the buyer agreed on a price. The buyer said,
I am paying you more than what I pay my regular customer, Samuela. Don't tell anyone what I paid you.
The buyer gave Samuel a small deposit and promised to pay the rest at his office later. The buyer ordered another round of beer.
Bring 2 bottles of beer for my clever friend Samuel. Let's salute Sam for talking me into paying the highest price I've ever paid. Sam.
Samuel was satisfied that he would be able to show his father the value of smart business deals.
Sam, get 2 bottles.
After several rounds of beer, Samuel was so drunk he passed out. The driver and the buyer left the bar quietly. When Samuel awoke the next morning, his head ached. He looked around for his friend. the driver. He saw that he was gone. He rushed to find the lorry, and it was gone. The buyer was also gone. Samuel rushed back into the bar. The bartender had never seen either of them before. No one could help him. Samuel did not know the number of the lorry or even the name of the driver. He thought,
Well, at least they left me with a deposit. I can use that to start over and earn money to pay back my father.
Samuel spent the next several days looking for a decent job, one appropriate for a smart young man such as himself. He wandered all through the city. Nowhere he looked could he find a job. He looked and looked without success. When he was almost out of money, he heard a man crying,
Hey everybody! Double your money! Double your money! This is your day to be rich! Just give 10 and take 50! Double your money! Double your money!
Samuel thought to himself,
Hey, if I can double this deposit once, twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times, I can go back to my father with my head held high. We will never have to grow maize again. This is fantastic.
He handed the man a little sum of money and won the first time. He had doubled his wager. He was excited now. Then he bet another small sum and he won again. Then he bet everything and the money disappeared. In his anger, Samuel began to yell for the police.
Police! Police!
He had been swindled. He will not permit anyone to take him for a fool.
Police!
The man next to him said, I won't call you a fool, but everyone except country boys knows about the money doublers. Don't waste your time going to the police. You agreed to the gamble and you got what you deserve. Samuel fell to the ground. His ways had come to nothing. He was penniless and ashamed, jobless and alone, frightened and hungry. That night he slept outside, his belly empty and his mind agitated by his failures. In the morning, Samuel wandered away from the main business district, offering to work at any job for anyone in exchange only for food. Then he saw some children digging through a dustbin. They pulled out some old bread and ate it. Samuel thought about all the dustbins he had passed as he walked through the city. He had not realized that people threw good food into the trash. At home, his family threw the waste food to the pigs. Here he could get food free, right from the dustbins. Overjoyed, he rushed to a dustbin and began searching through it, hoping to find anything edible.